number 9 this morning in shorts, first of 2 today. With our second 2 a day, just kind of came out here trying to get some light work, polish some things up as an offense and as a defense, and then got a little bit of competition stuff against each other. Right now, I think as you get into 9 or 10 practices, the residual effect starts to wear in, the soreness with everybody, so we're just trying to make sure that we get everybody out here, get nice and loose, get some good work, get some corrections made on the offense, defense, about 30 minutes on the special teams, but good morning, really good morning. Probably one that we really needed with as hard as we've been going after it for the last couple of days.
When you look at that D-line, I know they've been doing well the last couple of days based on Patrick's releases.
Yep.
Is it the first group, is it the second group, is it them overall? What's going on?
I mean, it's a little bit of all of them. I mean, you look at IK and you look at his experience and the way that he's playing right now, and Justin Ellis is playing really well. You got Shaq Lucas, you got Kendrick James, you've got Vernon Butler is really doing a good job. Dora's doing some good things. Kissaberth. I mean, there's just a lot of guys right now that are playing well for us as a defensive line, and it's far and away our deepest position. It's probably our most talented position, and it's our most experienced position. So when you put all that together, there's an awful lot falling on them, and there's an awful high expectations for our defensive line. I think the success of the D-line is a combination of all those things I talked about, and as an offensive line, we're breaking in a lot of new guys and trying to find the 5 that are going to be the chemistry guys to play. So I think it's probably a combination of what our defensive line is doing and our offense not quite being there. Kano's been at center for 8 days. So it's pretty hard to make an evaluation on him in 8 days and say that he's not going to be good, but we still have a ways to go as an offensive line.
You mentioned the linebackers being one of the biggest surprises of camp so far. Obviously, that was a couple of days ago. They still making some of those strides.
They are, and I think it's just because when we came in here, there was 3 linebackers there, and you talk about Hook, Shrang, and Bo Feet. And now with the addition of Daniel Cobb and Nick Thomason and Mitch Villamez, who am I leaving out?
Tony Johnson.
Exactly, Tony Johnson. I think the addition of those guys is just what was a real position of concern and a lack of depth and not knowing how good we were going to be. I feel much better that there's a group of guys there that are working. We're not where we need to be yet. We're still making some mistakes with that many new players because for everybody's a true freshman mentally right now. Everybody's been in this offense or defense for 8 months, and for those guys just coming in, they've been in it for 8 days. So, we're not where we need to be, but they're showing signs of promise, and I'm encouraged from what I've seen in the improvements that we've made at the linebacker position.
When you know that D-line is just the strength of your team, and you're watching the Skelly, and there is no pass rush.
Right.
Is it easy as a coach to know that you've got that D-line there that's going to have some pass rush?
Well, it is, but at the same time, people can try and take your D-line out of the game, throwing a lot of quick games, a lot of misdirections things, running the quarterbacks, all those things that we're going to see at NC State. They can try and neutralize the defensive line, and I think right now when you get into Pascal to teach your coverages and to make sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be, and so those defensive backs can see the ball in the air as much as we can. And so we've been doing an awful lot of scale because as experienced as we are on the defensive front, we are that inexperienced in the secondary with so many new guys. Not only do you have guys like Xavier Woods and Pinson and McDonald that are new additions, but you've got a lot of guys that haven't played a lot of football here when you start talking about Darius Barnes and Grogan and Bryce and a lot of the other guys at the safety position. So we need as much skill as we can get. We said this before, I don't know how good we're going to be, but we just got to make sure we keep trying to improve in every phase of the game as much as we can between now to NC State to become as good as we can as good as we can become as a football team by then, and that's all we can do. That's the only way I know how to do it.
That being said, watching the team this morning, and even Pascal, the offense came out with a little bit of zip, trying to get a little bit of that mojo back. Is it good to see them not yield the day at any point during practice?
It is, and that's kind of what happens when you get into your team settings, and it seems like the defense will win one day, and then the offense will go in and watch a film and make some corrections, and they'll come back and win the next day, and it's constant when you're going back and forth. You've got good coaches on both sides of the ball that are making adjustments when they come out here, and players are starting to see some of the mistakes they're making, and we're not making them twice, and you're getting better. And so I think Scotty and Ryan had a much better day yesterday than they did the day before. And I thought they came out here and they threw the ball around pretty well. But then again, it's Pascal. It's like you said, you don't have those 5 guys up in front, which makes a huge difference.
Other than your linebackers being the biggest surprise thus far, who else would you say has been your biggest surprise?
From a positive standpoint, definitely just the linebackers from the depth. Outside of that, I mean, I really like it at receiver, the way a couple guys are coming. I mean, we've got some bumps and bruises out there, and so that rotation is constantly moving. But I'm encouraged with some individuals probably more than I am a group, outside of what we talked about with the linebackers. I really, on the defensive side of the ball, I really like what Xavier Woods is doing, and some of those young guys in the secondary, they're getting better. Offensively, I think the two freshmen, and Carlos Henderson and Trent Taylor, are really doing a good job, and they're getting an awful lot of work with some of the bumps and bruises. It's nice to see Jakari Jackson out there and see him getting those reps that he hasn't been able to get because he missed spring practice. And on the offensive line right now, I think Jeremy Graffrey has constantly gotten better. Jens Danielson and Darryl Brown keep getting better every day. I think it's more individually on the offensive side of the ball than it would be just a position.
If you could pinpoint one thing though, specifically, what have you been most impressed with, either position-wise or player-wise?
Attitude and work habits would be, when you look at the team, I mean, that's the thing I've been most impressed with is they've come out here, they want to be good, they understand that we've got a lot of high expectations, and when you take that many seniors off this football team that you did a year ago, there's a lot of guys that have to step in and play for the first time, and I think they're hungry. I mean, it's certainly not a thing of where they're sitting back and feeling like they've accomplished something at this point. I think they're really hungry and they're working really hard, and they got a good attitude out here on the practice field. So it's all we can ask right now. I will say we're certainly not where we need to be. We're certainly not ready to play a game. We've got some positions that have to get a lot better, and this is the double-edged sword. You need to go out here in full pads as much as you can and get great work against each other, but at the same time you got to stay healthy. So we've just got to pace ourselves and understand that this is a long camp without school starting, that we're going to camp all the way up until Thursday of the Lamar week. So we're going to be in camp for a while, and we got to keep getting better because there's some areas that we need to make quite a bit of improvement.
You touched on the quarterbacks. Said they had a pretty good day yesterday and today. You called it a pretty tight race last week. How are those guys performing, and what's going to take to separate one of them?
Well, every day they're coming out here, and it's kind of like that horse race, where they're going down the stretch and they're going back and forth with their noses right now. And it seems like every day you come off the field, and the difference right now is going to be one play. I mean, eliminating lost yardage plays and turnovers are the keys for a quarterback right now. I mean, I think they're both throwing the ball pretty accurately, but we just have to get rid of that one foolish play that's going to cost you a football game. And it seems like one day Ryan will make it, one day Scotty will make it, and so it's like every day you come off the field and it's like, oh, he really had a good day today. But it's really, right now, it's one or two plays that's making the difference in the way you feel. But playing quarterback is all about a decision making. Because they're both talented enough, they both throw the ball well enough, it's going to be about who makes the best decisions and protects the ball and gives us the best chance to move forward as an offense.
Do y'all have a timetable when you want to have a starter named for this NC State game?
No, we came out of spring, and Scotty was number one at that point, and Scotty's been running with the ones at this point until we get into the scrimmage and really have the opportunity to make a decision to change that. But I'm not going to make this an everyday decision, jockey, back and forth. It's kind of a whole body of work rather than it is one day. And so we're kind of grading them every day as we go through this, from a comfort level, from a leadership level, from a productivity level, and from not making them, not making the mistake play, not making the bad play to keep the team out of turnover. And so we'll keep going with it the way we have it, where Scotty's the one right now and Ryan's the two. I think Paul Harris is doing some good things. Paul Harris is really kind of coming along and doing some good things, and he's being seen. So we'll keep with this rotation until we get to the first scrimmage, and then when we get to the first scrimmage, we'll make our decision after that.